Hi guys, before we start the show, we just want to tell you about Patreon. Patreon is a way you can support our podcast for as little as £3 a month. In return, you get an extra episode every single week. Now, this includes in our home. You can come get chonged with us. It's nice and intimate. Come get cosy. We do mad stuff like have mushrooms and go on Omegle and look for dicks.
We do watch-alongs. We do Taskmaster stuff. We're going to do pain challenges. We just do all sorts of stuff at home, don't we?
Honestly.
We get extra intoxicated and we have loads of fun.
It's where the good stuff is. It's where all the in-jokes are made. It's just us being bloody goons in it.
Just our silly goose selves. We also do a live show, which will be on Patreon every month.
It's absolutely insane. It is amazing. We had so much fun. It's basically stand-up comedy. People come and do a minute and then we interview them on stage. You just can't predict what's going to happen. There's some crazy folks out there. It's so entertaining. Everyone loves them.
And if you sign up, £3, you get early access to tickets to those. £5, you get discount on tickets to those shows. £10 get a whole free ticket every month to come and see one of those shows.
The £10 tier is madness because you also get like a free signed print. You get tickets to our live show every month.
£5 you get a print and a members only club card. £3 you get early access to public episodes, and like I said, early access to those live show tickets and any live shows we might do in the future. But these live shows are every month exclusively on Patreon. So if you can't make it to a show, at least you'll be able to watch it on Patreon.
But most importantly, you get to help us support the podcast and help us to grow the podcast. Yeah. And it's just going to get more and more mental. And we'd love to have you involved.
So jump on today, patreon.com/The Mild High Club. Come and join us in our house. Watch us get extra high. Nice one. Enjoy the episode.
Bone apple feet.
Love yous.
Yo.
We're back.
Hey.
What episode is it?
55.
55. We've got a very full house today, haven't we? We've got Glenn Wall
Canadians.
and JJ Whitehead here.
Hello.
Everybody.
Hello.
Nice one for coming down, guys. Really appreciate it. You're currently doing your tour.
Yep.
Yeah. How far through the tour are you?
About halfway.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Halfway.
So it's Liverpool tonight and then a couple more
London
cities.
tomorrow.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, two big cities.
Yeah, nice. And JJ's your tour support?
Just for these two.
Just for these
He's
two.
in town, so
okay, cool.
We haven't seen each other in a while, so I said, well, come on the road.
Oh, nice one. And
so
then
you
drag
came
them
over
on this.
separate Then.
What's that?
You came over separately?
Yeah,
I
I
live here.
just came over.
Oh, do you live here?
Yeah.
I live
All
here.
right.
I don't. So that's how that works. Yeah.
So are you live in California now?
I do, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So why did you come over?
Just came over for a visit.
Yeah.
You know, hang out with, catch up with friends briefly.
Well, there was, we can tell. It was a funeral.
Oh, okay.
Our friend died, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I came over for sad reasons, and I'm trying to inject happiness into it by going on the road with him for 3 days. So.
Well, nice one for coming here and grieving with us, I suppose. Yeah.
You've lived here for some time, Glenn. How long have you lived in England now?
On and off for 20 years now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Took a big chunk in the middle and didn't live here. But now I'm back for good. I've got 2 children and a wife.
Oh, nice. Where do you live in London?
No. God, no.
No.
Yeah.
Not with those expenditures. I live in a place called Hadley, just outside of Ipswich. So
Oh, okay, cool.
in the Suffolk countryside.
Nice.
Sounds nice.
Nice.
Sounds
Yeah.
It is pleasant.
Yeah.
Quaint.
How old are your little ones?
4 and 1. The littlest one is turning 1 in 2 weeks, and I have to be in the Austrian Alps doing a festival, and my wife is not happy about it.
Yeah. Is it that
Pandemic,
latitude or
baby.
something?
Yeah.
Altitude festival, something like that.
That's the one.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
What about? She keeps bringing it up.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No,
What about
that's cool.
yourself, JJ? Do you have any seed?
I do not.
Seed.
I'm a lone wolf.
You have seed.
That's true.
He doesn't have to-
True.
he
Don't
doesn't have to
spread
plant.
that rumor. I have seed. I have seed. It has not yet to be planted. So,
That's cool, man. Love that.
I just know that to be a rumor. I don't Now, I don't have personal knowledge of his seed. I'm not like, no, tell a lie. That guy's got seed.
Come on, you've heard.
Heard you in the other room.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you about that. You know, you've got a bit about the hotel story. I don't know if it's quite a famous bit of yours. Yeah. Was that a true story? The hotel story. Yeah, it's funny that.
It is true.
Was it actual like a comic you were working with?
It was, it was another comic. I don't know much now, but it was a comic in the next room.
Because you never know, like, obviously, because you're doing it as a bit, you never know how much of it's true.
Exactly.
So,
I think comedians in Canada know that it's true because they've all stayed in this. It was the comedians, like a loft apartment in a hotel. Right. It's in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Okay. For Yuck Yucks, which isn't there actually. They don't have that Yuck Yucks anymore. Yeah. So actually, I guess it is gone. But any comics, mostly Canadian, who have stayed in that hotel, they're all aware of the issue with the remote control.
Right,
and that it controls all the televisions in all the separate rooms. So when you change the TV in the living room, it changes the one in your bedroom. So that was, there was a comic, so that's the story. There was a comic in the room trying to watch porn, and he and I were having a battle back and forth with the remote.
Yeah, because you were trying to just watch hockey or something. Are you both into the hockey, or are you not as much into it now? You're over here, or
no? I get NHL.com, so I can watch it whenever I like.
Oh yeah, the internet exists, doesn't it? Yeah. Have you been there? There's hockey round here as well, isn't it?
In Runcorn.
In Runcorn and stuff. Yeah, there's like we have our own teams as well.
It's a different caliber. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
Yeah, I know it wouldn't be exactly the same. I don't know if we have the fights either.
There's usually one guy that's been in the NHL and sort of drank his way out. Ends up in Runcorn and just going, don't blame me too much, coach. I don't have it in me.
I don't know how I wound up with a kid here either, but this is where I'm staying.
So you were telling me about, what was that show you said to watch?
I was just talking to Glenn about that. I saw the documentary Ice Guardians.
Ice Guardians,
and it's about the goon.
Yeah,
is a phrase.
Yeah, I love that they've got them because they literally just let them like fight it out for a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, well, it's an important role, really, to be protective of because without them, your superstars get just beat up.
Right. Okay.
You know,
but I just love that they do just give them like a little few minutes to just punch each other in the head, and then they go, right, come on, back to it now.
Well, that's what I find so funny about it. Like they let hockey players beat each other up, but if it happens in basketball. It's like, these are thugs that need to be stopped immediately.
Yeah.
You know?
I think they're bigger. That's the problem.
And they've got all the padding and shit.
And they're on ice as well, so that I imagine that makes fighting a little bit harder, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, well, you can use it to your advantage too.
Do you have a favorite goon? Favorite fighter?
Oh, yeah, I never really thought about that. It's usually the guy that's on your team.
What teams do you support?
Vancouver Canucks.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, but they don't have a goon right now. They've moved away from it.
Well, there's not many goons in the league ananymore.
Yeah.
So used to have your Donald Brashears and...
Yeah. So is it becoming a bit more peaceful at the games now? Or?
Yeah. I went to university with a guy who made it as a goon in the bigs. He played for Dalhousie University, but he made it all the way to the bigs. His name was Jody Shelley.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody rated Jody Shelley. And he wasn't a scorer, even in college or anything. And I think he realized when he was probably about 20, 21, my ticket to the big leagues is to start kicking the shit out of people who want to beat up the good player on my team. And he made it. He made it from locker room to locker room all the way to the NHL because he was a great team guy. And he stood up for the talented players on the team and kicked the snot out of people that tried to take them out of the game. So
I wish comedy was like that. You could fight your way onto the Apollo.
Yeah, definitely. Just fight for spots on lineups and stuff.
Even at the Apollo, they're like they call somebody on. You're like, no, it's me.
The gloves have came off with Michael McIntyre.
So good. Imagine fighting Michael McIntyre just to go on live with the Apollo.
You never know. He's got a big head, Michael McIntyre.
It'd be the worst though if you fight them, you beat them, and then you go on and go, I'm not ready to go on live with the Apollo. like I shouldn't have been here and just absolutely bomb it. Like it'd be awful.
You mentioned before that you were going on a tour to the Alps.
Yep.
Yeah, I read that you tried to set a world record for the highest comedy show. It was going to be on Mount Everest.
No, that was me at Glastonbury about 10 years ago. The highest show.
I was going to ask about Glastonbury too. Are you going this year?
No, I haven't done Glastonbury since the highest show.
So what was you get super high? Did you trying to do stand up?
I was just kidding. It was just a joke.
Okay. No, but also I didn't know if it was a joke or not.
It is Glastonbury. You never know.
I've had that question before. So if somebody else has watched another podcast, they're like,
Okay.
does he just do this every time? No, I don't. But
So
if you set me up, I'll take it.
Is the Mount Everest thing the true thing that you were trying to do, or is that just someone got on Wikipedia and messed
Cancelled from delays, it said.
Oh, right, okay.
No, some other people did it in the end, but I think I'd injured myself or some such thing. Yeah, I was supposed to, and then I didn't.
Right,
do
okay.
it.
Halfway up in a shape, I had to carry you down.
Yeah. So when I messaged you about coming on, you was like, "Oh, I don't have to smoke weed, do I?" And come on, like, have you got a history with drugs, like?
Yes.
Yeah.
So much so I don't count marijuana as a drug. Do you mean like drugs or little kid stuff?
Yeah, it's a plant in it.
Marijuana, you fucking soccer mom.
I just don't think podcasting on header wouldn't be that entertaining though, would it?
Yeah.
So
The best.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be good, but I just
You
don't
didn't
feel
have to
like.
go all the way to heroin.
Well,
Those are the two drugs.
Well, he fronted me with marijuana not being strong enough, so I was like, "I'll rage that. Let's do heroin then. Let's do heroin."
Yeah, you want to keep an eye, count your microphones after the heroin podcast. I just gotta go. Already in the car.
Yeah, we do mushroom podcasts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we've done a couple on
That's
mushrooms.
drugs.
Yeah.
I will count
Classic.
that as drugs.
But weed, it shouldn't be illegal. Still is over here, obviously. But like, people view us as rebels, and it's just lettuce.
You're ahead of the
Pretty much.
curve.
Yeah. But it's-
Hopefully it does like become legal over here, but like, is it legal in Canada or is it just like decriminalized?
It is legal.
Yeah.
Now, you can walk into depending on the province, it's legal across Canada, but
Right.
for example, some provinces, liquor stores are separate from beer stores. But so some, you walk into the liquor store and in the back, there's marijuana, cannabis. Stop.
It's a
So you,
dream,
can get,
man.
Wonderful.
so you guys don't have
world.
edibles or anything like that?
We
Britain?
know people who make them, and some of them are real strong.
I would imagine when you know people who make them, they do
Yeah.
tend to be stronger than regulated
Yeah, man.
edibles.
And we make our own and stuff, but yeah, it's just I hate dealing with drug dealers. That's the worst part of it. Like when we went to LA, like some of the weed shops there were like high end. They were like Apple
like-
stores.
yeah,
Like
Yeah, it's really fancy, nice lighting.
yeah. And you get
Yeah.
all different things. Like you can have like cannabis beers and even just like little strips that you put under your tongue and then you high. And I was like, that's the dream. That and over here, you want to get into a horrible car with someone you don't know, and like don't know what you're getting and shit like that. So I just can't wait for it to be legal over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why
but
people.
wait until you see the price hike, though.
Yeah.
You might miss your dealer at that point.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think growing your own is probably the best way forward, really. If you've got a house big enough, but
Yeah, for sure.
we haven't really got a room that we can
Yeah,
spare
but
for.
Yeah, but then every time a helicopter goes over, you're like, God, here we go.
Yeah.
There's always about to get burst in.
We have
yeah.
a lot of helicopters where we live as well.
I know it's a bit rough. It's a bit rough, yeah.
Um,
But yeah. So with the, how long have you lived in California?
Almost 6 years now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did you move there for comedy or?
Yeah, just to switch things up. I was here
Yeah.
for 15
Right.
years, and I think I needed to change things up.
Yeah.
And
where was your favourite place in the UK where
To-
you lived?
I liked everywhere that I lived. I started in Edinburgh, and then London, and then I lived in Manchester for a while. That
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. That was a better cost of living. Going from London to Manchester was
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time too, there was like a comedy store and a Jongleurs, and there was a lot of gigs around Manchester, small satellite gigs and stuff. So that was a really exciting time. And then I moved back down to London for a while before going to LA.
Yeah. Even with like, even just living in England, you're only so far from a city.
Yeah.
Like in America and stuff, it's like you're on the road for hours, aren't you, just to get
Yeah.
to different gigs. Whereas living in Manchester, like you say, drive to Liverpool, drive to Leeds,
it's
drive to...
amazing that Leeds,
Yeah.
Leeds and
Like
Liverpool
London.
are under an hour away.
Yeah,
So you're,
London's like 3-hour drive and you're in the
Yeah.
main city. Like it's just...
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, when we lived in Australia, just to get from city to city, it was like 6 hours.
Yeah.
It was like, how do you
That's
like
the
that.
big difference in
You
America.
just don't go to
is-
that city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just stay
far away.
here.
Is it similar in Canada with gigs? Is it?
Well, no, I think the difference in North America or America and Canada is everything's flying. You're always going to an airport
Right.
for,
Yeah.
for your gigs for the weekend. So that
Yeah.
is the difference. Whereas here, you're just getting in a car
Driving. Yeah.
Yeah.
to drive to a city. So
Dean's scared of flying. Every time
Yeah,
I got
not
off
a
the
fan.
plane, he's got more grey hairs.
Yeah.
Stress.
I never used to mind it when I was younger, and I just don't know whether it's just getting more and more paranoid from smoking the weed and that. But every time I'm on it, I'm like, this is it. You know, like the weeks building up to flying, I always have dreams with the planes crashing and all that, and I just
Wow.
can't relax. So you go on these long haul flights, and I just spend the whole time sitting looking out the window, like terrified that something bad's going to happen, and I can't enjoy myself until we land, and I get like overwhelmingly
hey,
excited.
you're much
Like,
better in tight traffic going at high speeds on the M6. Way safer.
Yeah.
yeah, true. But yeah, so you in some of your stand up, you spoke about going to LA as well.
Yeah.
Like, what did you go? How long were you living there?
I didn't really live in LA for very long. I would just go there for pilot season,
Right,
things
okay.
like that.
Yeah.
But that was part of the problem. I had a bunch of different agents all over the world, and they kept pulling me, like, because they don't get money unless you're working for them.
Yeah.
So I sort of split it three ways, and I shouldn't have. I should have focused on one area, but
Right,
like
okay.
Europe, Australia, North America.
Yeah,
And in the end, I just didn't like living in America. It was like living in a fairground almost.
Yeah. With guns.
Yeah, with the guns for the duck shoot actually come off.
My brother was recently in Miami, just visiting, and he sent me a picture, and there's a sticker on the window, and it says, "Please, no handguns in the lobby." Yeah.
that's mad.
It's
Isn't it?
so alien to me.
I was
Yeah.
in Indianapolis in like a nice little like a Holiday Inn hotel in a nice suburb, and the guy who the vending machine guy who like restocked the potato chips and stuff, had a pistol on his hip.
Just in case someone tries to rob his crisps or something.
I guess somebody would, he had to, or maybe that's just how he likes to
just
walk
rolls,
around
yeah.
in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Like,
I had a date with a woman in California, but with a woman who had moved from Texas, and over drinks, she was just telling me she wasn't comfortable without her gun. She's like, I don't know how you guys, I'm just not comfortable without my gun, and that logic just defeats me. I'm
But
like,
the thing, like, it's weird, isn't it? Because, like, obviously, when you say, "Oh, I'm not comfortable without it," it's because you have like concealed carry permits and stuff like that. So you don't know if someone's got it and I haven't got mine. Like, I don't want to be left without mine. So just in case something kicks off, like, but I just don't know
how
how.
often are these shootouts happening?
But this is what I mean. Like, the fights ever just. Do they always lead to people shooting, or like I don't know, like because we only ever went to LA for 10 days.
No,
and
it
there
was
no
they
shootings.
stabbed
But
too.
oh, okay, so
Yeah.
some stabbings and that as well. That's right.
All kinds of shit goes down.
Yeah. No,
We're
it's
quite
mad.
stabby over here, aren't we?
Yeah, quite stabby.
I was going to ask you guys, say for instance, if tomorrow is on the news, America invades Canada, are you going back home to the front line? You're going to Ukraine, like the Klitschko brothers?
oh, right. No.
No, you're staying here.
Yeah. I don't think America would win that war.
you
They
kill
they don't know what's waiting for them.
Well, no, because they could go home. You
Yeah.
know, it's like that. I think sometimes they take their armies so far away, and they're like, "Well, we just have to fight." But if
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
just in Canada, like,
Just go, it's cold
Yeah.
and
yeah, because a lot of the Russians have gone home from the Ukraine because
Yeah.
they're like, it's just, we know these people.
yeah.
We-
They're offering them money now as well, aren't they? Like they're offering them like
Yeah.
5
Well,
million rubles. Or
Have
something
you
to-
seen the they're
surrender.
getting out of their tanks, and the Ukrainian farmers are stealing the
Yeah.
Russian tank? And I saw one clip, and there was like 5 farmers. They got it started, and they were like peeling around in a field. They looked like when the Gremlins, had turned evil. And they,
Just riding around with
Joyriding
it.
Putin's tanks.
That's mad.
yeah.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I can see, like, do you find living in California like a lot of fakery in that? Because I feel like
There
there's a
is.
lot
I
of-
mean, there's all kinds of bubbles, though. There's all kinds of different communities. There's some great comedians in our
Yeah,
little California community that we all hang out with. But yes, you can find.
But everyone's always trying to get that next thing, aren't they? And it seems like, because it's like the main place to make it in a way.
Every place has its dickheads.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's not unlike Edinburgh in August.
Right, okay.
Where, you'll meet people with like serious 5-year plans.
This
is the serious business of being funny, and you can tell from their jokes. It's like none of your heart is in that joke. It's all just designed. But again, you can walk around the corner in Edinburgh and find somebody singing their soul. They're so funny. Their soul is at the surface. It's kind of that dichotomy.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's cool.
With the pilot seasons, what's the closest it ever came to maybe happening?
Oh, yeah, there was. I got a TV show with the History Channel about. It was called The History of Money. It was about money. We shot a pilot, and the production company. It was so weird. Like, I don't know if whoever was in charge had like a really cokey Christmas. Like the producer called me up and he's like, they have seen the pilot. I've never heard somebody gush that much. They're so happy, Glenn. This is great. You gotta move to LA, buddy. You gotta come because this is going ahead. And I was like, I remember I got the call. I was in the car and I had to sort of pull over and just go, oh, well, good. All this hard work has come to something. And then it just went really quiet for about a month. And but for me, I didn't want to call up and jinx it. I just figured, this is how it works. Out, like don't call them every day. Like, do you still think it? But it just, the silence went an uncomfortable length of time. And then I got a call and he was like, I don't know what happened to that guy, but, he's really changed his tune. So he came down from whatever he was on. But, that was the one kick in the teeth because, that was the one that sent me back to Canada because I was living in America at that time. But I was just like, I'm not going through that again.
It seems like a really good premise as well, The History of Money.
Yeah.
The show.
Yeah, well, I got to interview a billionaire. He was the guy that he invented Grace Note, the thing where you put the CD in and it would read it and you could put it on your computer.
Oh, right.
And he invented the software for voicemail.
Oh, right. Okay.
So between those two things, and I was talking to him, and the one takeaway I was like, is it about the money or is it about fixing that thing that doesn't work? And he's like, it's about the thing that doesn't work. The money is, it's nice. And he lived in a mansion. He had like a slide from his top floor down, like a curly slide.
Like a kid design.
Yeah. But he had like all these weird things that spurred him because he was an inventor. And he had owl dung in a jar. Like it was like a mouse that an owl had eaten around. Oh, and he just like, I was like, what? He's like, I just look at it sometimes. when you keep them humble? Well, you can't. I mean, if you caught like a guy living in an alley, you're like, okay, give me the jar of owl dung. But if you're in somebody's mansion, you're like, hey, you need some more owl dung?
In fact, I'm going to buy my own owl dung, I think. It's
where do I get some? Come on.
Sign of a successful person, Yeah, man, that's mad, isn't it?
You've got the world at your fingertips, just a simple glass of owl dung.
Yeah. I'd love a slide. That's how you know you've got too much money in it when you go, just put a slide in. Just put a slide in.
Oh, he had a basketball court and stuff, but he was weird about it too because I started picking up, like, if you go into somebody's basketball court, and there was balls in like one of those ones that you take it and shoot and it would feed.
Oh, it comes back.
One.
Yeah.
I took one out. I was bouncing it and you could see like total discomfort. I didn't even shoot it. I put it back in the little. And he was like, Well,
so he just got it for show, like the whole basketball court was for show.
I do. Sometimes people are germaphobes or what have you. Yeah.
Like he's got a jar of owl dung. He can't be that much of a germaphobe.
It's one of those things like like right down to being a baby. You always know when you've touched something you're not supposed to. But say like if somebody's like, that's mine.
Yeah. Just bouncing his ball.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah, like even babies can express that. Like, that is my ball.
How about yourself, JJ? Have you done a lot of TV?
We just did 3 seasons of the Jim Jeffries show on Comedy Central.
Oh, sick,
man. You on that, or did you write?
Yeah, I was a writer.
Shit,
I performed on it as well, and we just wrapped just before the pandemic. But that was an interesting pilot because we did that pilot in 2016, just before the election. So,
I see.
And it was a lot about Hillary winning.
So
that pilot had to kind of be reshot after it was done. And
is it like a talk show? Is it?
It's like the Daily Show.
Yeah,
right.
It was like Jim Jeffries behind the desk.
Yeah, right.
I've
Okay,
seen
so
some
skewering the
YouTube,
news, you know, basically.
I found that as well, like John Oliver, Jim Jeffries, Trevor Noah he's South African, isn't he?
Yeah.
But it's like it's a lot of foreigners going over to America and basically just saying, this is what's wrong with your country.
Yeah, that's it, because I think if Americans done it, like they'd be seen as like unpatriotic and so they can get like an English fella over to be like.
That was that's what he made his, you know. Well, I know he was successful before that, but he was known for being quite.
Yeah, he wasn't funny like that before. He was more of like a party time comic.
Yeah.
Before
really?
Daily Show.
I mean, I'm not even a political. Like, there's a lot of us involved in the show that we're not political.
Yeah,
comics,
no,
you know, per se, but it's
you
not hard to make fun of it. It's not hard to make fun of the news in the time of Donald Trump as well. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Or it's harder. Like, he's more ridiculous than any joke you could write. But even John Oliver wasn't political. I remember him from way back.
He was doing like the Frog and Bucket in Manchester and all that. Like, and just mad to see. Yeah,
show on HBO. Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No.
Oh,
he was in a double act with Andy Zaltzman for a long time.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And there was, I think they had a couple of radio shows on BBC, and they both got canceled at the same time. And Andy called John up to tell him, and John's like, "Well, I just got the Daily Show in America."
See you later, yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, well, good news for you."
Do you know when Trump was in office? Do you find that?
We all know that.
Yeah,
we all remember that.
Did you find that like there was just too many people trying to make Trump jokes to the point where it become like a bit oversaturated? Or
Definitely. Everybody got sick of talking about it.
Yeah. And then when he's
by some of my Trump tweets. If you ever go back to I would like to de-Trump my Twitter now.
Yeah.
I seen the thing today. One of your tweets was that a genuine thing? A tweet in the
the Cosby
doc. Is it a documentary or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. That.
Yeah.
One of Glenn's tweets been used in the new Cosby
like
documentary.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said in the Instagram post too. I heard I was in the new Cosby documentary, thankfully for this reason.
Yeah.
Glenn, I also read that you were in a group yourself, a Canadian musical comedy group with Stuart Francis.
We weren't musical.
Was it not?
No.
Fuck Wikipedia.
What?
That's what I mean. That's why you can't trust Wikipedia.
The dulcet tones of Glenn Wolfe.
I was going to say, could you say
Stewart and Craig Campbell singing lumberjack songs.
Why
not?
Is that what he's reading? Is it the
Lumberjacks?
The Lumberjacks. Yeah. It says a Canadian musical comedy group, the Lumberjacks. Stuart Francis and Craig Campbell.
Somebody was drunk when they filled out that. That's one too many forms. All right, today we're musical.
I wonder if that's somebody sneaking around, just subtly changing things.
Well, if that isn't true, I hope this one is true. And it was about your father, who was
Darth Vader. I don't know where we're going with this. It's like, somebody's been in.
I heard your father was fighting the Sith. Is that true?
I hope to God this is true.
All right, let's hear it.
Oh, God.
His father, who was an Estonian, escaped a concentration camp in Sweden.
Sort of. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who wrote that, by the way, but it was a refugee camp in World War II.
Right.
And they didn't escape. The Swedes told all the Estonian refugees that they had to go live back in Estonia under Stalin. So
It's
half
like, no.
of them Well, half of them committed suicide. Like it's a mass suicide, and the other half that my dad was in, it just as a child though, like he was with his parents too. They stole a boat. They stole a boat in Estonia and sailed it across the ocean. And when they were heading to New York. When they got to Halifax, they ran out of gas. So they all got off the boat, and the border guard was like, "Hey, whoa, we need to see some paperwork here." And the captain's like, "I'll go get it. Don't worry." And he went back to the boat and pulled the plug, so it sank. And then he came back. He's like, "You're not gonna believe what's going on." And that's where all the passports were. Oh, probably just let us in. And they did, because it was like right after the war, and they were like, "All right, get in here, but don't fuck around."
Yeah. That's so mad. So at least that one was
Thank
true.
God. Thank God it is. Change your name from Vol to Wool.
Yes. They changed it at the border. My dad's real name is Yuri, but they changed it to George, which I reckon they could have let him stick with Yuri, but my uncle, who was Hank, they changed it to Hank, which they had to, because his Estonian name was Ants, like ANTZ, like the movie. Ants, like, because apparently it's quite a common Estonian name, but it would just be like, "Ants in my pants."
I love that about just pulling the plug on the boat, just going, "Oh, sorry, we've lost all that."
Well, that's every time I see it. Like I've always got a soft spot in my heart for refugees. I don't care where they're from. I see my granny. My granny in it, but I'm also like, you gotta be slippery. Don't go the route they want you. You fucking right up on a dinghy on the shore. We were here all day.
Just put a towel down, just relax. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's easier it's harder to kick you out. Just get here, people. Especially my Ukrainian brothers and sisters.
Yeah, man, just turn up. We'll let you in. Stay at ours if you want.
My granddad's from Shanghai,
so
he come over. His name was Young Kong Chow. People just call him John.
my mate in school said that when Chinese people got here because they've got Chinese names, that they pick their own English names.
Yeah.
So he might have picked John himself, and he was like, "My uncle's mate's called Biscuit." He just went, "I'm going to call Biscuit," and they were like, "Okay, there's nothing we can do. You want to be called Biscuit? That's cool." So he just called himself Biscuit. Is
it true that Jeffrey Archer based a character in his novel on your dad?
He did.
Yeah. See, that one sounds like The Lie. If any of them are going to be The Lie, it would be that one.
Who would try and get Jeffrey Archer? The character in Jeffrey Archer's book is based on me. Wow, let's all suck his dick. No, because he became when he went to Canada, and he was a kid, and then he grew up. He became a police officer. In the Mounties, and he was a stock fraud investigator, and he traveled all over the world, and he caught Jeffrey Archer when he was a politician. He made the government buy this system to clean the buildings. Right. They were like, it's environmentally friendly and everybody totally needs it. And then my dad he's like, well, you secretly own that company. He was like, oh, got me.
I'll put you in a book.
So he had to retire. But he never saw my dad as his foe or anything. He was just like, oh, good catch. When he started writing books, he based one of the characters on my
that's
dad.
Mad. That's so cool.
His first novel. Isn't that crazy?
That's so mad. Has anyone ever wrote a novel about your
Very not.
Kenny? But that story's not closed. We're going to sign. We'll send him to Ukraine. His guy's an Air Force. He's a fighter pilot.
He is a hero. He's what was that Mark Wahlberg movie with The Perfect Storm?
Yeah.
So my father is a navigator, Sea King helicopters, and he did fly off a couple of missions off the coast of Canada, and one of them is the Perfect Storm film is based upon.
Oh, no way. That's cool.
That was my dad. And the cables broke in the helicopter. My dad tells a story about, Medrick Kuzno was the guy on the cable, the other officer, and my father had to leave the navigator's chair because the cable broke. So in these 50-foot waves, my dad was telling me they were trying to operate the wire, and Kuzno was just bouncing off the ship.
Yeah.
Their own man there. And so he's been on a few rescue missions that, And also he was the commanding officer of we're just bragging about our dads.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
We've got cool dads, man. He was also.
No, this is the lead up to our dads fighting each other. It's like in one of the
we're gonna do a new show about our dads. He was, and my father was the commanding officer of Shearwater Air Force Base on 9/11 when all the planes were redirected from America to Canada. They landed Goose Bay and in Newfoundland and Shearwater Air Force Base, and it was the first time in Canadian history that he had to tell all his officers to be armed on our own base, on a Canadian base. First time domestically, Canadian officers had to be domestically armed to clear all those planes and stuff.
No way.
There was nothing. There was no extra terrorists.
Tell me about your dad, Amy.
So I was raised by my mom.
We don't know where he could be anybody there.
This makes something up. I think he once went to the top of Everest and done a stand-up gig. I think Amy's dad. Yeah, that's mad. My dad just delivers beer to pubs, and he's done that for 40 odd years.
He's the real hero. Come on, he's the one most appreciated in his community.
Should we have a question?
Yeah, go on. We've got a couple of questions from our Patreons.
Yeah, this one's from Josh Adams. It says, "Love Glenn. Ask about the Chinese Larry story. It's one of my favourites."
Why not?
That's what I was thinking about that when you brought it up.
Yeah, go on.
Am I allowed to tell it?
Yeah, it's fine.
I used to have I won't do the whole bit, but I used to deliver Chinese food in a Chinese restaurant, and my boss, he was one of those guys that had picked his own name.
Right.
But he picked Larry. I was like, why would a Chinese guy, knowing full well he could not pronounce L's or R's, pick the name Larry? It's more than half. I thought you people were good at math. And see, that's where it's right at the end. That's where it goes too far.
Oh no, it's funny that.
I gotta tell you this story about Harrison Ford when he made a movie called The Widowmaker many years ago, and that was filmed in Halifax, Nova Scotia. It was made in Halifax, and Harrison Ford would park his private plane at Shearwater Air Force Base when my father was the CO as well. And taking care of Harrison Ford, my dad had an opportunity to get him to sign whatever he wanted. So my dad came home to get something, and I was thinking it could have been Star Wars. It could be it's fucking. You got a fucking Harrison Ford hanging out back at the base, and all my dad had was a copy of The Devil's Own with Brad Pitt. So we have in our basement a signed copy of that's all. I was like, Dad, you could have gone to a comic book. You could have done anything in that hour, but you dipped home, grabbed The Devil's Own to get him to sign it.
I bet you though, it is the only copy.
The rarest thing he's ever signed.
Probably worth $1 million.
Yeah,
it's the most.
Nobody.
Yeah. Like no one's got one of them.
When Harrison Ford dies, you're going to be rummaging through your shit in your basement.
That's so funny.
He probably doesn't even remember being in it. Just
Someone changes Wikipedia quick that he was in that film.
Like, these helicopters don't pay them for themselves. You got to be in some real shit sometimes.
I love when you see Apocalypse Now. You see a really young Harrison Ford. Going off topic a bit, but yeah.
Not really. It's Harrison
Ford.
Ford.
See a really young Harrison Ford. Apocalypse Now. Yeah.
Robert Duvall has that power too. Like he's in movies like all the like from the 50s. Yeah. You're like, what? Does he age? Because he's always been really bald too.
Right.
So.
Is he still alive, Robert Duvall?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he can't die. It's been. He's a vampire.
Have you seen James Caan's face lately?
Did Robert Duvall beat him up?
He needs to.
I love the smell of Botox in the morning. Come here, Con. I'll knock that perm back into your hair.
He looks like he's been drowned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For numerous weeks.
That might have actually happened. He's so coked up, he doesn't realize he's drowned.
He still thinks he's Sonny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're old, man.
Yeah, he's got like old guy cocky that just doesn't realize it.
So, but being like in America and all stuff, what's like the most famous person you guys have met?
Well, for me, Brad Pitt was on the Jim Jeffries show.
Oh, should have got him to sign
Brad Pitt
that.
Played our weatherman. So,
seeing that.
I feel that
pretty
it was
big,
quite
yeah.
funny. But and Brad Pitt, he is a lovely guy. But he was a weatherman on our show 5 times, and so I hung out with him a bit on set. But then I also opened for Jim, and so he came to one of our shows at the theater once, and Brad was sitting there and still introduced himself. Like, hey, I'm Brad. I'm like, okay, not only do I know who you are, but we've also worked together a bit, Brad. We've technically known each other for a year now.
By the way, you should have asked me this question first because he's done TV shows in LA.
Oh, yeah. We can edit it first.
I did Butlins last weekend. Scouting for Girls was there. Got to meet them backstage. They're nice guys.
We can edit it, man. So,
Frankie Boyle, yeah, and he knows who I am.
Are you still doing the podcast with Frankie?
No. I'm actually starting one with Andrew Maxwell.
oh, nice.
Don't think no.
When does that start?
Well, we've been doing little pilots now, but yeah, it's sad because it's 2 men in their late 40s trying to learn about technology.
Right.
So, you know, probably never. Like they'll probably just say it out and tell us. I could do very well. Oh, good. And the people listen. Doing excellent. Good.
Oh, fuck it up. So you got a podcast as well, you were saying.
I do, yeah, I do.
What's your podcast called, man?
Well, so it's supposed to be about travel. I'm learning the rules of these podcasts as well because it's just a loose theme, isn't it? Who gives a shit? We're doing talk radio and shooting the shit. So it's about travel. I guess it's called Standby.
Okay, cool.
With JJ and
Is that just
Francisco.
on all podcast platforms on YouTube?
It's on the
anything like
Comedy
that?
Stores podcast network.
Oh, okay, cool.
In LA there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah,
we can
started
just throw
it-
links and stuff in there for you so people can check
Right
it
on.
out.
Yeah,
so.
we started it during the pandemic just to.
Oh, no, just to keep, that's what most of
yeah.
them started out, I think, on it, like
That is
trying to
the-
find something to do. What was
Yeah.
it? Because LA and that was closed for, like, I don't even know, is it starting to fully open up
Starting
now?
to open up, and I mean, there was still shows in parking lots. And
Yeah,
shit
we had
like
that here
There
as
was a
well,
lot
but
of, yeah,
it's just not the
cars
same, is
flashing
it?
their
Yeah.
lights, and
Yeah.
the one at the Magic Castle has a parking lot in Hollywood there,
Yeah.
and there was one, and they weren't allowed to flash their lights or honk their horns, but they gave everybody clackers.
So,
So they had these, yeah.
right,
So if you hit a joke from the stage, they would reach out the window with clackers. So no, it wasn't. And you haven't lived until you've had a car walk out on you as well.
There's like a 16-point
10-point turn
yeah.
while they're going like, fuck you. Yeah. So it's getting better.
heckle
Things
ever.
are getting better.
Did you do many of them drive-in shows? Because there was a few here, but like they were only going to like the big headline and comics and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Because people got real desperate when it all got took away. So like you say, they were doing like all these drive-in ones. Did you do any of them, or did you just stick to?
I did do 2 during
Yeah.
but you know, same thing. It wasn't. It's just wasn't.
I had them booked in.
the real thing. So
Yeah.
Both times it got right down to when it was supposed to happen, and then it had just petered out, and they're like, "We're not doing them anymore."
Yeah. I think there was like 1 or 2, and people were like, it just doesn't work. It's just
Yeah.
not. That's just not what stand-up is it? Yeah.
Space saver, wasn't it? While we were waiting for the real thing to.
That was it. Like them and Zoom gigs as well. I don't know if you've done many of them, but
I did a Zoom gig for one corporate for Dutch Uber Eats, and there's like 15 young Dutch sort of hipstery people. And I saw them all on their little squares, and I just started doing my act. And about halfway through, the producer of the show broke in, and he's like, "Oh, hey, everybody, can please turn your microphones on because Glenn can't. It's very, very weird. There's no energy." Out of the fucking silence, one went, "They're on."
oh
The whole time they've been on, man.
no, that's not good, is
Isn't
it?
that terrible too? You sign on to do a set, and then you get briefed before your set that you also have to sit there and, you know, and big up the. This is the way comics aren't.
Just
we're-
doesn't work.
We're not
That's
meant to
saying,
do
does it?
that.
Yeah.
We're mostly meant to be grumpy at the back of the room, being analytical about whatever's
Yeah,
on it, going,
yeah.
"Oh, that was funny."
Yeah.
That's how we watch
Hilarious. I
comedy.
really enjoyed that joke.
So can I ask like what I don't know, you probably get this question all the time, but like what the big differences is between like audiences? Because I feel like over in LA and that, especially now, it's getting a lot more like woke. Like I don't really like the word
Right,
woke,
yeah.
but over in England, unless it's like London, especially up in the north, you still get a lot of like people who are like they'll go for like that more like close to the bone type comedy and stuff like that. I don't know what certain places in America you have similar places where like you can go a bit further or you have to pull it back in.
I find that it's room to room more than it's state to state.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's just the comedy culture is created by the promoter, really. So the promoter, you know, and who you book and all that kind of stuff. So you can't pick up. But I think the biggest difference, and it's something that I miss a lot, is having a break. Even last night was so much fun, man. I got to open for Wooly.
Yeah.
Open for Wooly and get everybody in a good vibe. And the great thing about a British audience is they can take care of themselves during the break. And I say, all right, you guys, the room's cooking. You're all in good shape. Get more drinks at the bar. We get a 15-minute break, and Wooly will be back out to do his thing. That is, to me, that's comedy, and I miss that a lot because they don't do that in America.
It's all table
in America,
service and
it's
stuff.
just everything rolls into one.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think they started thinking that in the 80s or 90s or whatever, and they've never stopped thinking it's like a movie. Don't give them a break. Don't
Well, they also they have to do the check drop, so you have to write 2 closing bits. That's what I've found. If you're closing. Because you get down to your last 10, and that's where you've angled it to and that's when you start handing checks out to the table. So people in the middle of your big bit, they're like, "Oh, well, I didn't have the nachos. I didn't have
It's like when we went to the Comedy Store, it is just like roll on comedians from 7 till 2 a.m. Something stupid in it. Like
I'm not a fan. I mean, I love stand up. You know, I'll take it if there's nothing else. But I am baffled sometimes as to why. America hasn't caught on to, or doesn't have faith. Doesn't have faith in their comedy fans to let them have a break to talk about. Did you like
the energy is going to evaporate if you have a break
they
or
think
something?
That they lose everybody or something. Which
is that because of attention spans? Maybe
I could be wrong.
Like obviously with American TV, I don't know how it is in Canada and stuff, but there's ads every 6 minutes, it seems like, on American shows. Is that because like the attention span's different over there, so they feel like if there's a break,
TikTok is like shortening everyone's attention.
I think that's just capitalism.
Oh yeah,
I think that's just, we want to make as much money as possible.
Yeah,
so.
True. Yeah,
We have a staple question that we ask on the show, and it's for any awkward sex stories.
If you've got any,
for a curve.
Just to throw a little curveball in.
Yeah.
That's a really broad question. Yeah. Do you have any
You can
awkward...
think about it if you want for a minute.
I've been married for too long. It's always, every time it's awkward. It's just,
Okay, let's do it. Let's get this goose on the ground. Nothing fancy.
Especially with 2 kids as well now.
Yeah. Very time allotted to when you can't do it.
Yeah, you have to schedule it. It's like the bins. It's Monday. Let's do it.
Little timetable on the fridge and stuff like so.
Yeah. We're not having kids.
Don't think so.
No.
That's said with a lot of confidence. Somebody who seems quite young.
This sounds like in a year this will be your awkward sex story.
Well, it happened, everybody.
A few gin and tonics. And,
luckily, Amy can't drink, so we never get too drunk to.
I know.
Ah.
Yeah, it's really sad.
I think that's a blessing in disguise, having a girlfriend who can't drink.
But the thing is, she can't drive either.
Designated
so
driver?
I haven't got one.
Well,
I'd get her driving lessons for Christmas. Honey, it's so enriching for the soul.
So it's all feminism and equality. Women drivers. Let's get you on the road.
I'm waiting for the self-driving car. Just waiting it out.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to wait out for it. I want you to drive.
I'd be too indecisive, I think. I think I'd be a nightmare.
Can you imagine how drunk we're going to be when they finally get those things working?
Oh, yeah.
I'll be drunk all the time. That's the only thing that keeps me sober.
Yeah,
I have to drive somewhere.
And there you go. You say you don't like planes and stuff. I would love to be able to just stumble into a car in LA and then wake up for my gig in Colorado or something.
Yeah, that'd be
go into
cool.
the club and
like a little Oh God, it would smell though. Like once they crack that can open, it just smells like beer and wanking. Fucking comes out with arms like Popeye. Where is it? I hope I put it in the right place. This is Colorado. I'm here.
I feel like the start would be very crude, so it'd be like Total Recall. So you'd have like some cartoonish driver, right
Yeah, like a fake driver in there. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
weird.
you'd want someone, something.
Yeah, it's just I can't imagine it. Just you see see a lot of videos because obviously there's a lot of get Teslas and stuff around here now, but at first when it was mainly in America, you see people like asleep on the highways and that.
There was a little bit, and
crazy.
people sticking an orange in their steering wheel.
So if it,
have
so
you not
this-
heard about that?
I thought that was
so it
just
feels like
You
there's
have to
something on
have
it.
your because it'll self-drive. Do you know about this? It'll self-drive, but you have to have hold your steering. But I guess people discovered that if you take an orange and wedge it into the steering wheel, it thinks that you're holding it as well. So
Just fall asleep and let it go.
mad,
It's mad, isn't it?
For a second, I thought you were talking about all them clips from America where, the opioids epidemic, and you'll see people with the kids in the back of the car, like on the way to school,
Yeah.
just zonked on the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, what a way to drive! Just on opiates at any moment, you can just.
No, man.
I
Crazy.
think As Jane Pickering. is
She
that
has. Questions are always so interesting. So it says, "What a fabulous guest! Please ask Glenn if he likes reading Robinson Davis."
Pardon me?
Yeah, she always got a really interesting question. She's please ask Glenn if he likes reading Robinson Davis.
Who I like reading.
If you like reading,
Do you like reading? Do you know who Robinson Davis is? I assumed that was an inside
Yeah,
question.
no, Robinson Davis. I do like reading.
Jane,
Jane!
what are you on about? What are you on about?
what's Robinson Davis? Is that
I think this must just be an author of his that she likes.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And she's just, have you ever read
Has Robinson Davis sent us a message that says,
It's based a
Janine, do
character
you
on
like
you."
great reading?
Bloody hell.
Robinson Davis.
Or one of his most famous quotes. Janine, do you
or
like
it's her
reading?
pen name, and she's just put a book out.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, Jane. Nice one for that.
So you like reading? No.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Well, I don't know if it counts as reading. I like listening to books when I drive.
Yeah.
It's a bone of contention to say. It feels silly when you go, oh, I just read a book. It was great. But you didn't.
Yeah.
You just listen to
You
someone
listen
else
to
read
it,
it.
but-
Yeah.
It passes the time. I have to be careful now, though. I'm at an age where if I do that, like late at night after a gig, I might fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's all the concerts start after 11:30. It's all concert all the time in the car. Just
Yeah,
to keep
right.
me in. Yeah, window open, wind in the face.
Oh, you need an accent that can keep you awake while driving, so you don't want it to be too soothing.
Scottish.
So maybe like a Scouse
Scouse.
accent, like
Yeah.
you'd be like, fucking hell.
Is there any Scouse audio books though? I don't think they'd sell very well.
A Scouse sat nav would be great, wouldn't it?
Just can't
Fucking-
read.
I don't know, there's a big picture or something.
I'm sorry, Liverpool. He
That's
set me
funny.
up for it. I can't
No,
help
it's
it.
funny because it is true. It is.
I just love that you like the start of a Charles Dickens. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Maybe we should do one. Maybe there's a little gap in the market there for the. So what's that word there? Did you read that?
I also read this. Well, stumbled my way through it, but I did read it. It says Glenn has toured the world extensively, telling one interviewer he circled the globe 3 times in 2 weeks, forgetting which city you were in.
I
That's
did.
true, yeah.
I did. I couldn't figure it out. I was I'd had to go a bunch of different places, and I'd worked it out. I'd been around the world 3 times in a 2-week span, and I woke up in a hotel room, and I was just like, I can't. I don't know where I am. And then I started piecing it through the airports that I've been in.
Yeah.
But I changed flights so many times. I was like, well, I can remember being in this airport, but I'm sure I was in the airport after.
Right.
And I finally, I went to the desk, and it had like stationery, and I was like, okay, well that'll tell me. But it was a chain hotel, so
Yeah.
it was like Tokyo, Milan, like that. So I called the front desk. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but
Where am I?
please tell me where I am. She's like,
Room 117, sir. Yeah, it was Hong Kong in the end.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. So that's some heavy shit. That,
Have you done the wrong city when you said, hello, Glasgow?
Yes, I
You're in
was.
Bath.
Yeah, in Darlington, I kept calling it Scarborough. And I was opening for Ed at the time, Ed Byrne, close personal friend of ours. And like, yeah, so I did the opening bit and I just kept saying it. And I could see like the audience, it was just, but I wasn't picking up. I thought I was doing bad. And then like at the, I finished the show and it still went all right. The jokes were funny and I didn't do it every joke.
Yeah.
I didn't piece it together and I was having a beer with Ed in the break and I was like, they were really weird and he's like, you know why that is? You are not in Scarborough. You're in Darlington.
I just picture you in Hong Kong going, hello, Huddersfield. And they're all like, what are you on about?
So I went back on stage to bring Ed back up and I was like, apparently we're in Darlington.
I think that's so English as well to be like, it's like, oh dear, he's got the wrong place. And about to tell him, like, no, let him, let him go. It's
We'll
okay.
stare at him with hate until he figures it out. You have to say nothing.
Yeah, I just don't say names of places on stage because like I know I'll forget or
That
I'll
must
just
really
fuck it
make
up.
them feel that you care about them.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not asked, mate. It just but I know because I mix stuff up in my head all the time. Like I always say, like the way I speak is like autocorrect on Google. You know, I'll say something and you'll go, "Oh, do you mean this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that one." You know what I mean? So if I'm at a town or something, I'll know it sounds similar to this one. But I go, oh yeah, mate, I'm up there somewhere. So I just never say it ever.
It's like the Spinal Tap thing where you're like looking on the back of your
on
guitar.
the back of the guitar, yeah, something like that. Yeah, mad.
What's your worst deaths on stage?
That's a good answer. But how long have you actually been doing stand-up for?
28 years.
Yeah, so you must have accumulated at least one big death in there somewhere.
Yeah. That's my lifespan.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, my nephew is the exact same age as my comedy career, which was good when he was a teenager because I was like, yeah, but now he's like getting pretty old, and I'm like, that's how long? that man, like he's a man now.
A full man's worth of comedy. Yeah. You were about to start saying about death there.
I was going to say, because I started comedy in Scotland. I started in Edinburgh at the Stand Comedy Club. Still love the Stand. Yeah. So my biggest death was about eight professional gigs in. And I had just learned how much fun it was to say the word cunt and how loose British people are with it.
Yeah.
So a young Canadian just embracing the word. And I had a bunch of Scottish firefighters in who started making fun of my accent, saying that I sounded American, fucking American. So I started calling them English, thinking that we're having a little back and forth here. We're having a back and forth. And the audience was going, and then I did call them a bunch of cunts.
Yeah, right.
And I did not win the gig back at all. I ended up, funny enough, you mentioned Doug Stanhope's manager, Brian Hennigan. Hennigan was there that night on the bill, and he was laughing as I had to be, because the firefighters wanted to beat the shit out of me, and I had to be ushered through the back of the stand and hide on the fire escape in the rain while these firefighters were looking through the club and out in the back alley for me and just yelling and screaming that they were going to kick the shit out of me.
That's not very fireman-like.
It's weird that they didn't go
Brian
straight to the
Hennigan's
fire
just
exit
laughing
either.
at me in the dressing room. That was
should've just
still to this day the biggest death of my career, but about 8 gigs in.
Was that like the most
should've-
scared you've been at a
I
gig?
was pretty
like,
fucking terrified.
waiting for
yeah.
some angry
Should've-
Irish,
should've-
Scottish.
Yeah.
You should have lit a fire somewhere. 30 pound. Oh, it's good.
Can you imagine if that was police officers though? Do you know what I mean? They got a bit rowdy and were like, we're going to fuck that guy up. And he gets like, you fucking police officers.
Yeah. Well, there's a funny heckle retort you can do to police officers, because sometimes you'll be at a gig and they'll be like, they'll be being dicks, and then they'll be actually we're police officers like that. And you go, well, unless you're on duty, it's illegal for you to tell me that. It really is.
He's right.
Yeah, you're on camera too,
Yeah.
so don't say you didn't say it.
That's amazing. Should we have a little break for 2 minutes and then we'll come back in a minute?
Anyway.
Just a quick one, guys. Don't know if you know this. We got sponsored by Manscaped. This isn't the official ad, but we just wanted to let you know that if you want to sign up today, go to manscaped.com and use the promo code TMHC20 for 20% off and help us out. Go shave your balls and that.
A little fire emoji in them.
I wanted to ask you about your hat.
Sure.
Gone squatching.
Yeah.
Do you believe in Bigfoot, or you just like the hat, just like his merch?
Hey, nobody knows for sure. I was in a place on Vancouver Island once. I'd been on tour for a while, and when I'm on tour, I like to go to the little museums in small towns. 'Cause
Right,
I
okay.
find them almost more interesting than big museums. 'cause
Have you
they've
been to the Lawnmower Museum in Southport?
Well, that's the exception. It proves the rule. So I go into this little museum in a place called Courtenay, British Columbia, and it's got all this stuff. A lot of stuff about the railroad going across Canada, and then I was the only guy in there, so it was just the curator and me, and he's just taking me around, showing me everything, and I can't remember what happened. There was an exhibit about logging, and I made a Bigfoot joke.
Yeah.
And he kind of got a little quiet, and then we were looking at more stuff, and I think I made another Bigfoot joke, and he finally went like, "You want to know about Sasquatch?" And I was like, "Yes." So he took me like to this he had like curtains that he'd curtain off a secret spot in the museum, and he was like, "Shoo," like that, and he had a recording of this is one of their yowls. I've never seen one myself, but I know many people in the community. They're Sasquatch hunters, and here's some of their fur, and like really went deep into the Sasquatch there, and I loved it. I liked the day, I liked the guy. So cut to about 3 months later, a buddy of mine's in the same town. I said, "Look, you got to go down to the museum, but you gotta pick. He won't show you. You gotta be cool. You gotta drop some hints, and then he's gonna show you the exhibit." So he said he went down there, and not only was he not the only one in the museum. He was there was a Japanese tour group in there, so they're now being showed around, but he's just like with the blunt edge trying to crowbar Sasquatch comments into everything. And like, well, you see, this is where the railway. Did a Sasquatch help make that railroad? And the guy was just like rolling his eyes, and all these Japanese people are like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? So he's now getting desperate. He's about 3 Bigfoot jokes in, and he's getting nothing.
Just bombing.
He's got nothing. He makes the 4th one, and the curator finally goes, "Look! It doesn't work here anymore." He was fired for the very thing that you're talking about. If you want to talk to him, he sweeps up down to the barber shop now. Go get his little Bigfoot story.
It's so funny, like his reaction. Like you must have people in there all the time, just like dropping little Bigfoot lines, like just trying to get the guy just to open the curtain and that.
Yeah.
It's got so far where he's just like, "Fuck's sake, man, he doesn't work here anymore." Like he knows exactly who he's on about. That's so funny. It's amazing.
In this time of war, I asked the guest last week, and I'd like to ask you to. Do you have a favourite war?
Oh.
War of
We asked Jared
1812.
in question.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
one where we got
Spanked
to
the
burn the
Yanks.
White House.
I don't think they call it a war down there. I went to a museum in Boston, and they not only didn't call it a war, they were under the impression they won.
Right.
Like, yeah, it was really weird because it's just known they tried to invade Canada, and we spanked them all the way back to the White House and burnt the White House. Used to be green. We burnt it down.
Oh, yeah?
And that's where That's where the Star Spangled Banner, the line, the bombs bursting in air. Those were Canadian bombs, and he could see, the guy was in prison, and he could see the stars and stripes flapping in the wind, and that's when he knew that the nation's still there, because if the Canadians had taken over America, they would have taken the flag down.
Right.
And the good people of Boston took that as, we won.
Won
that fight.
Our flag's still there, yeah.
It's very Boston.
You didn't take the flag down, so you didn't win. You didn't want your stupid flag.
Yeah.
Liverpool sounds Boston-y.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe.
I think Liverpool's more like New Jersey. More like Jersey.
Yeah.
The Jersey thing.
Well,
I think so,
what
you'd say in
would you say
Liverpool.
like the toughest place in America or Canada is like, because like obviously in England I see of comedians who aren't from Liverpool being like, oh, Liverpool's a bit of a tough place to gig because you get like a minute, and if they don't like you, then half the people in the crowd think they're funnier than you anyway. So people start. I think Glasgow might be similar. Newcastle. Is there places in America or Canada that you think, oh, fucking tough crowds?
That is true. I've seen fights in Liverpool before the
Yeah,
show's even started.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
We've got that
Liverpool's
tonight to
hard.
look forward to.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, like I said, I haven't been over there. I lived in a pretty rough place in Canada when I went back, but I didn't do any shows there. But it was, I lived in a place called Surrey. That's where my condo was. I had a really nice condominium in a really terrible area.
Right. Okay.
So, like, I lived in Brooklyn for a while. And I heard more gunshots in Surrey than I did. And I lived in the Haitian area of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And there was more gunshots in Surrey than there was.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no gigs there though. You didn't do any gigs.
No. They used to have a comedy club right close to where I lived. It was funny. It was a drug front.
Right.
This was like way back when I started. And it was funny. Stanhope told me about it because he got... he said he played there right at the start of his career with Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, no way.
It was a double headline of Doug Stanhope and Mitch Hedberg to like 15 people every night.
Yeah.
And then at the end,
That's
I
mad,
think
isn't
they
it?
tried to pay him with an ounce of coke. Like,
Yeah.
Would you take this instead of
Probably, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, probably have
I
that.
think
Yeah.
they were like,
I was going to say at the time, they probably would have been like, okay, yeah.
We'll love that.
that's
Yeah,
what
I've heard loads of stuff like off podcasts, like people getting paid in coke and not in cash. Like over.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to be my opening line in Atlanta because that's where the the coke factory is there. I was like,
Right.
hello, Atlanta. I feel a kinship because I used to work for coke too.
yeah, no, it's just it must be mad. Like being like obviously in England, obviously audiences are a bit different from town to town. But when you're going state to state, is that like such a big jump between audiences, or do you find it's quite similar
It
across
depends
the
if
board?
it's
Or?
blue state or red state, and I never even got my head around that. I had to find that out the hard way. Like in what's Cincinnati? Is that Ohio? Yeah. I did one show, and I did a joke about socialized healthcare, and somebody was like, "Why don't you go back to Canada?" Like that. And I couldn't believe I never thought in my head. I didn't think anybody could think it was a bad idea.
Yeah,
I didn't
right.
realize. So the whole night I was just like, "That's the fucking dumbest thing
Yeah,
I've ever heard," and I stewed on it the whole night. Just thinking of all the different things you could have said, and I was really upset that I didn't because it was so silly that I didn't take advantage of it. And then the next night I did the bit again, and somebody went, "Why don't you go back to Canada?" And I was like, "Here we
it's hilarious that it happened twice, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the fact that someone the second time was like, "Go back to Canada," like they're so like against the healthcare and that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. Like, why do you not want like public healthcare?
Yeah.
It just seems mad.
I was getting mocked I got mocked to my face just before I came here because we were in Arizona. But I was wearing a mask, and they don't wear, you're a pussy if you wear a mask.
Right,
It's
okay.
very
It's like that up
anti-vax.
here.
red state. But I'm
COVID
like,
didn't happen up here.
the
for
fact
people.
is, I haven't gotten sick in a couple years, and I do wear a mask. And I wanted to come here. I wanted to come to Britain. I've got some travel plans. And if I catch COVID, so I'm not scared of COVID, but I just know if I catch
Stops
it,
you.
I don't get to do all the
Yeah,
shit I
yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wear a mask. But I was in the elevator of my own hotel in Arizona getting ready to go to the gig, and I'm the only one in the elevator wearing the mask. And right to my face, they're like, look at this fucking pussy. Look at this fucking, the fuck's this guy doing? Just right, and I'm just standing there, I'm like, fuck you. Like,
Should have let a big fart out right at
that would have been perfect.
Cough right out your arsehole.
Yeah. Now for phase 2 of the plan.
Wish you had a mask now, motherfuckers.
But you see loads of stuff, like, as I say, we were chatting before we started about, like, what you see on social media and in the media about, like, how crazy it's going over there. Because I asked you about Canada. I was like, oh, it's going a bit crazy. And you're like, not really. It's just a couple of
With
truckers.
the truckers, yeah.
But, like, with the mask situation, like, I've seen loads of videos of people walking down the street without a mask on, and people run over from the other side of the street and be like, put your fucking mask on. And, like, so I don't, like, it just seems like some people have gone a bit, it's made people go a bit scared, and it feel a bit crazy with it all. Like,
Australia's really bad as well.
Australia's quite bad with it as well. Yeah.
There's been in Los Angeles too. There has been people like storm into grocery stores and yell at people for wearing you're a sheep for wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Just like,
so it's on both sides, really. Yeah.
You're all going a bit insane.
I think it's, when it started to fade away a little bit and life was getting back to normal, the same people were like, well, I need something else to be angry about.
Yeah,
so you're getting these people going, oh yeah, that war in Ukraine isn't real. And you're like, what? And like, it's old footage and shit. Like, you're just desperate to, you know, to belong. I know the truth, you know, like it's infuriating.
It's like communities, isn't it?
My gym, my gym in LA, there was I watched this lady for 5 minutes. I was leaving the gym, but in the gym, and I don't know if it's still now, but this would be maybe 2 months ago, you had to wear a mask if you're working out. And like, that's the rules. Fine, whatever. But there was a lady outside the gym 5 feet away just yelling at the door. Reception's just past the door, but going, are you intimidated by me not wearing it? She was just doing a big fucking dramatic presentation. And we're all just like, nobody gives a shit. Like,
people just getting on with their lives.
Fucking hell. And she's like, oh, you're all going to be scared. No, we're just trying not to get sick.
Just want to lift some weights and that.
Just mind our own business, but you're making a big thing of it.
Yeah. But like, I want to go like back to the Sasquatch thing. Is there any conspiracy? Are you into any conspiracy theories or anything, or you just?
Well, that's not a conspiracy theory.
No, you've seen the evidence, haven't you?
Yeah, you haven't seen the same footage that I did. You haven't heard the yowl. Exactly, the yowl. You've seen it. You don't know. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say when you said it's about not thinking something everybody else does, because I was in New York once and I saw UFOs and it was like on the street there was 250 people all looking up, so I was worried it was going to be like street theater.
Right.
I would come up and go like this and they'd go, so I crept over and I sort of like that. And there was these little floating orbs in the sky.
Yeah.
And everybody noticed them.
When was this about?
This would have been about 10 years ago now.
Okay.
So, but I was supposed to go meet my entertainment lawyer.
Right.
That's what I was doing downtown in New York. So I'm watching these things in the sky, and like when it happened too, like a jet was up there at some point, and then a SUV with anti-sniper lights on it, you know, like that, like big time. It pulled up with 2 cops on motorbikes, like, so it pulled up to the corner. Whoever was in the SUV never got out.
Right.
But the cops leaned on their bikes and like purposefully weren't looking in the sky. Like 250 people in the street looking like this, and they're just like,
nothing to see here.
Yeah, it was really, really strange.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, this is getting weirder and weirder. But then it was time to go see the lawyer.
Yeah.
I was close by, so I went into his office, and he's just sitting at his desk. He's like, "Oh, hey man, good to meet you. What have you been doing today?" And I was like, "Well, I was looking at UFOs. And he went, let's go. And he jumped over his desk. He was like, yeah, which is like, I respect the shit out of him because that's the only thing. If somebody says I seen a UFO, you go, okay, well, let's go see it.
Yeah.
So the lawyer comes out in the street, and I said, they're up there. And he's like, yeah, those are UFOs. So
Jesus
we
Christ.
fuck off back to the office, and it was on the news that night. Every airport in New York was closed for different reasons. Like one even was down to like it was swamp gas, and we had to close. You know, like Newark, we had radar problems.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So like, and it sort of moves you because you realize something big has happened here. And I called my conspiracy theory friends, you know, like we all have them. We all know them. And I thought, oh boy, you're going to be excited to hear this. I really did see UFOs today. And to a man, all of them like, nah, that's not what you saw. Nah, some sort of government thing. Like, nah, not UFOs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they moved on from that. But I think it has to do with not wanting to agree with the official narrative.
So even when there is a UFO, they go, no, they're just telling you it's a UFO.
Yeah, that's the government trying to convince you.
Yeah,
that's not
right.
what UFOs look like. They look way different. Okay? Idiot.
So recently when the footage came out of the Tic Tac with that shit.
Oh, the Pentagon
Yeah,
footage?
yeah. Was you
That's
like...
when I saw it, that is what I saw. And
Yeah.
it was weird because I went home. I went back to my hotel that day. I was looking on YouTube of people who had, it was just right before everybody had cameras or good cameras. And I was looking at footage and I was like, yeah, that's what I saw. And then later that day when the official story came out and they said, oh no, some kids released balloons from the party and that like fucking 250 people, hardened New Yorkers don't know what a balloon is. Like, and then like the footage that was there was obviously like a balloon floating in the sky. Like, that is not what I saw. And the former head of NORAD, which is the North American Missile Defense System, a Canadian general, he had been on record for a long time saying that UFOs were real, aliens were real, they are in contact with us, and he said to prove it, they will buzz New York on this day, and that was the day.
Oh, shit, really, yeah?
Yeah.
No way. 'Cause I've heard a lot about like whenever there's like nuclear activity going on, then aliens seem to appear and fucking like disarm the bases and shit.
Right.
So I'm waiting now, man, for something to happen with the Ukraine Russia stuff. I'm like, it's all right. Aliens are gonna come sort this out.
It's looking like it's the only way. It's the only hope we have left.
Yeah, aliens just come and just turn it all off and go, no.
I think Putin could intimidate aliens.
No.
He's not intimidating.
No, fuck that. Aliens come.
Have you seen his army? He's not so intimidating now. He's
yeah.
just a really
That's
old,
it.
sick guy. Well, I'll bring my tanks. Not unless you borrow them off the Ukrainian farmers, you won't. Your tanks are currently doing donuts in a field right now.
They're just in a spaceship. They've got that, a big screen up, and it's him on a horse with no shirt on. They're like, this guy.
Turn
this
round. Have you ever seen any UFOs, JJ?
I don't believe I have.
No.
Who knows? I've also done a lot of drugs.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
I might be just flexing my eyes, man. Stigmatism, I think.
So you are on the thing of like, not conspiracy theorists per se, but, you've seen this thing in the sky and stuff like that. So obviously that
You're open to stuff.
Open to stuff.
Alien
Sure,
stuff.
and I mean, I enjoy a good yarn, like
because you mentioned before Craig Campbell. He's gone heavy on it on social medias, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Yeah, I don't know if you still speak to him or you're in contact with him still.
Not on social media.
Yeah, okay. Because he's got a bit wild with it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
We'll move on from that. That's fine.
He's currently working in a museum.
Just in the Southport Lawnmower Museum. Like, do you want to see behind this curtain?
I'll tell you the real story about lawnmowers. It starts with Israel.
Oh man, that's funny. That. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, I don't know where to go from
I think we can
UFOs and that.
That's
We can
wrap,
wrap
yeah.
up now.
Probably
can't
wrap
we?
it up. Yeah, man, that's cool. Thanks so much, man, for coming
Yeah,
on. Really
thanks,
appreciate
guys.
it. Nice
Thank
one for
you.
coming on as well,
Thanks
man.
for having me.
Have you got anything to plug? Your tours still going on? When's that until?
Yeah, tour another month and a half, and yeah, the podcast with me and Maxwell will come out when we learn how all of this, what this
Yeah,
stuff
if you
does.
send me, I'll get you some links and stuff, and we'll put them in the
Yeah,
description
yeah.
as well. And what about yourself, man?
Right on. Yeah, well, so I got my podcast with Francisco, but same thing. Like, I can't wait to improve it. Look at the level you guys are operating at. I'm a bit
They've
jealous,
even
man.
got a guy that comes to know where
Like,
he
yeah,
I'll
goes.
get him back in a
your
minute.
covered guy is amazing. The guy who just and I've
Remember
been doing Twitch out of my apartment
Oh,
as well
sweet, yeah.
myself, so I'm learning that as I go as
Yeah, yeah,
well.
cool.
So
Just
I can always
as
use
I say,
followers on that.
Hit us up with some links, man. I'll throw them all in. You can go
Right
check
on.
them out on social media and stuff like that. Our live show that we done the other day, that's going to be on our Patreon.
It was
It'll be
amazing.
out now. Also, the tickets and that will go first dibs to Patreon. So if you want to get first dibs to come down, sign up to the Patreon.
Thanks to everyone that came to the live show as well.
Yeah, nice one. It was real fun. Go check out, grab tickets to Glenn's tour if you're about. Go check out JJ's stuff as well. Anything you want to add, Tom? Nope. Cool. Every week.
Strong, silent Tom. No.
No, you don't want to dip into Wikipedia again for some tasties.
Never again. Never again.
Well,
Wikipedia.
we gotta get you Snopes. We don't see Wikipedia.
I'm gonna go Nardwar and we'll start ringing up mums and shit. And
That was good.
Right. Well, that's all for us today then.
Brilliant.
Nice one, everyone, for watching. Nice one, Glenn,
Thanks,
JJ,
guys.
for
Thanks
coming
again.
on. And we'll see you all next week. Cheers. Nice
Love
one.
you,
See you in a
bye.
bit.
Well.
Hey everyone, I want to tell you about Munch Term. Munch Term is the UK's #1 smoke shop. So you want to hit up them for any skins, grinders, blunt wraps. They sell CBD, flour, raws, lighters.
Blazy Susans,
Them.
rolling trays.
We've got a little promo code. It's Mild High UK. If you use that, you get £2 off your order. munchterm.co.uk. Support the podcast.
What?
Love yous.